Hey guys, welcome back to A Page in the Chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and today we are talking about green flag men. Now don't get me wrong, I like a red flag, touch her and you die vibe, male main character any day of the week. But I find it is rarer and harder to find well done a green flag male. Just a male that is like a he fell first, he is just putting out green flags, he is absolutely down bad for the main characters. I find that is harder to find, and sometimes when that is done well, that is better than a red flag, touch her and you die male. So this is a video with those type of main characters in them because maybe you just want to switch up your reading a little bit. Maybe you're tired of reading about all of the red flags and you would like to read green flags for a change. Maybe you just want some good romance recommendations. I don't know, but these are romances that I've loved that all have green flag male main characters in them. If you guys like the sound of this video, you would like to see more from me, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload every Wednesday and every Sunday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here for you to enjoy. Let me know down in the comments any books that you have read that have green flag men in them, because I'm always looking for more recommendations. Or if there's any other recommendations you would like to see, then let me know those too and I can put together a list for you. So without further ado, let's start talking about the green flag men. So this is the book that inspired this video, and if you have seen the vlog in which I read this, then you will already be anticipating this one on this list, because this is literally the book that inspired this whole video, and that is Play Along by Liz Tomford. Isaiah Rhodes. Wow. Wow. I spent pretty much the whole vlog where I read this talking about how down bad and green flag this man is for our main character Kennedy. So this is a sports romance where Isaiah Rhodes is a baseball player and he has a crush on physio assistant, like medical assistant that works for the team, but she is engaged to somebody else and is just not really interested at all, and he puts on this really jokey personality and she kind of isn't taking him seriously because she assumes it's just his personality and he sleeps around a lot and blah blah blah. And then when Kennedy's engagement falls apart, she ends up on a trip to Vegas and the team is also on a pre-season bonding trip to Vegas, and her and Isaiah end up getting really drunk and get married in Vegas. And then to prevent Kennedy from losing her job for like fraternizing with the team, they decide to stay married so that it's no longer a casual relationship and it's a serious relationship, and their logic is the team can't really fire her. She's not breaking any rules if it's a serious relationship. I love this book so much. This was a 5 stars for me. It's one of the many 5 stars that I have read this year. I'm having a fantastic year for 5-star books, but Isaiah is just so obsessed with Kennedy. This is marriage of convenience obviously, but also like drunken marriage in Vegas. If that is a trope, then this is it. And it is very much a he fell for her kind of vibe. Like Isaiah has had a crush on Kennedy since the last book and he is so down bad for her. He remembers like little things from little conversations that they've had and he just absolutely adores her. So if you want to read a very well written romance novel with all of these fun tropes, but also just where this man makes it so clear from the get-go that he is interested in her and really wants her, but she's just too blind to see it, then this is a fantastic book for that. This book also doesn't have a third act breakup, but it still has a very, very interesting third act. Liz Tomford is able to kind of make a conflict come in the third act in the situation surrounding this couple that really tests them and makes for an interesting read and really suits them as a couple without having them break up, because as I said, Isaiah is so down bad for Kennedy and has wanted her for so long. It doesn't really make sense that he would give up that easily, so I really appreciate Liz Tomford taking that into consideration, and this is one of my all-time favourite books and probably my favourite book on this list for green flag male. The next green flag male that I need to discuss with you is so green flag and so cute and so sweet that I own the book twice, and that is Russ from Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the sequel to Icebreaker, and I preferred this one. I think I might be in the minority with this, but I preferred this one just because Russ is such a golden retriever green flag male, and both of the editions I own have sprayed edges because I have a little bit of a problem. This one is the Fairy Loot edition, and then this is just from the Works, because apparently the Works do the Works exclusive editions now. But I love Russ. I feel like the reflection on this really shimmery book is probably not ideal for camera, but basically this edition is stunning and I'm gonna put it away now. This follows our main characters Aurora and Russ, and they end up going to work on a summer camp over their summer break from college, and he is interested in her from the get-go, but he is a very shy and not confident male main character, which we don't get a lot, and I think the execution of this was so well done. And there is a no fraternization policy at this summer camp, but the connection between these two characters is palpable and they just can't avoid it. Aurora has a lot of baggage that she's bringing to the table, but she has this real kind of mischievous, extroverted personality that I think complements Ross's really well and explains why their relationship works, because she is willing to be the extroverted one and get things going between the two of them. But what I really enjoy about the characterization of Russ is that yes, he is very shy and incredibly sweet, golden retriever, would do absolutely anything for Aurora, and is just really unconfident, but he's not a pushover. Like, he understands how relationships work. Like, he doesn't just like let people walk all over him or allow himself to be manipulated in situations or anything like that. He's just adorably shy and sweet, and it's so heartwarming and endearing to see him really open up in this relationship, and for these two to actually like get communicating and get on the same page, end up in this very cute relationship, was just a joy to read. And I adore this book, and I adore Russ, and Russ is cemented quite firmly on my book boyfriends list as a result of the characterization of him in this book. I just thought he was so incredibly sweet and such a green flag. You might have questions about this one, but the next book I want to talk to you about is Fucking Around by Emily Rath. This is a polyamorous romance, but I only want to talk to you about Jake from this book. He is the standard for like golden retriever boyfriend. Fucking Around follows our main character Rachel, and she is a sports doctor, and she hooks up with this guy in Seattle and has this amazing night with this guy in Seattle, and then gets a job being a doctor for this ice hockey team called the Jacksonville Rays, only to turn up and find out that the guy she had this amazing night with is a player on the team. His name is Jake, but while she is working on this team, she's also forming a connection with one of the other players on the team and the equipment manager on the team, and the four of them form a polyamorous relationship and decide to give this a try, the four of them. What I think makes Jake a real green flag of a man is that he was very upfront about the fact that he wanted something serious with Rachel from the get-go. He didn't play any games, he didn't kind of pretend that their night together meant nothing to him or he forgot her or anything like that. He fully just kind of saw her again and went full guns blazing, like, that was an amazing night together, I really want to be with you, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since. And then when the situation changes and he realizes that she's developing feelings for other people, he really takes that in his stride and is very willing to be open with her and be open to communicating about, could they try this, and is this something he would be open to. And again, very much just comes from this position of, I really like you, I'm willing to give this a try, you're still willing to kind of have me in the equation. And I feel like he's a green flag just for the way he communicates. I feel like Jake is one of the few characters in this book that is actually on it with the communication and wanting to talk things through. I don't have any experience with a polyamorous relationship, but the people that I've spoken to that do say communication is really like the foundation point for this, and it's not going to work without communication. And so I feel like Jake is just a massive green flag for how open he was to the idea, how open he was to Rachel's needs and what Rachel wanted from a relationship, and then just being on it with the communication. And not to mention that he was just a sweet guy too. He was doing a lot of sweet things for everybody involved. And my one criticism of this book is that we didn't get to see a lot of the relationship development outside of smart. If you want a very smart filled book, this is that. I would read the content warnings because there's a lot of sexy time things going on in this book. I wish we had seen more dates and things outside of that, because I think Jake would have really shone as a character in this book. And if you can't tell, Jake was my favorite boyfriend. He was a very green flag of a man. I'd recommend. There are also maybe not red flags, but like no, I'm gonna call them red flags. There's some red flag men in here too, so you can really get the best of both worlds if you read this book. The next one might be a little controversial, but I stand by the fact that I think this is a green man, and I'm about to tell you why. And that is Reckless by Elsie Silver. This is the fourth book. This is the fourth book in the Chestnut Spring series. We follow Theo and Winter. Please don't check out when I say what tropes this is. This is an accidental pregnancy trope, but the book does miss out the whole pregnancy. There's a time jump, it misses out the whole pregnancy, so you don't have to read that. And it really does make sense for these characters. Trust me, Elsie Silver can write it, and she writes it very, very well. So Winter and Theo end up having this like amazing night together at the beginning of the book, and then we jump forward and we find out that Winter has had a child as a result of this amazing night together, but she can't get a hold of Theo, she can't tell Theo, and then she receives a text message that makes her think that Theo isn't interested in wanting to know their child, so she kind of just goes on with her life, excels at raising this child by herself. And then when Theo comes back into town and realizes that Winter has a child, they obviously have to have this big conversation about what's going on here and end up getting to know each other again, spending more time together. Winter has gone through an incredible character arc over the course of these books, and in this one we really get to see it. I actually think as a result of this book, Winter might be one of my favorite women in the Chestnut Spring series. I think maybe Willa takes the cake, but Winter is very much up there. But why I think Theo is a green flag, if anyone has read this, then you'll know the scene I'm talking about where he's like, don't speak to the mother of my child that way. Like, oh my god. The flutters were real during that scene. But also he really steps up, and there is a miscommunication trope in here. Apologies if you don't like that, but again, Elsie Silver does it in a really good way, and it's not necessarily miscommunication between our main characters so much as other people getting involved, which leads to a misunderstanding. But why I think Theo is a green flag of a man, he immediately steps up and wants to be involved. He's upset that he's missed the time that he's missed, and he has been interested in Winter for a really long time, but again, like, she just hasn't really seen it for what it is. But as soon as he kind of realizes he has a shot, like, he's not gonna waste it. He steps up immediately. He defends her when a lot of other people in the family aren't willing to defend her. He sees the good in her, even in previous books when she is like the villain of previous books and is hated and everyone's really unsure of her. And then Theo kind of just comes in and is like, no, you're not going to speak about the mother of my child that way. And he has always seen her as a good person, and I think the way he really lifts Winter up throughout this book but also the previous book really makes him an absolute green flag of a man. And I am due a reread of this book because I've just sold it to myself again. I may as well stay on the Elsie Silver line and talk about this book as well, and that is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This follows Ford Grant, Willow Grant's brother, and this is the first book in a new small town romance series that Elsie Silver is writing called Rose Hill. The second book comes out in a couple of weeks, and I am very highly anticipating that book. I feel like that will also include a green flag male, but this whole series is following the single dads. And why I think Ford Grant is a green flag man is because he very much just kind of drops everything for his daughter. He, at the beginning of the story, has no idea that he has a daughter until she turns up on his doorstep claiming to be his, and he really steps up for her and is so helpful and good to her. And then seeing him adapt to being a single dad is very fun to watch, and again makes him more of a green flag. And then he's also just a green flag to Rosie too, like the way they communicate with each other, it seems very healthy and they have very good banter and really seems to care about her. This is a brother's best friend romance, so even when he isn't making a move on her or aware of his feelings for her, he's still always helping her out and getting her jobs and being there for her and sticking up for her. And he does it in a not bullying way. I feel like in brothers best friend romances they can be really possessive, and in this it doesn't really come across that way. It is a very Sweet story, I love it. I can't wait for the second book in the series to be out, and Ford Grant is very much a green flag man. And so that is my list of green flag men in books. I feel like there is definitely some that I am forgetting, and I hope there are a lot more out there for me to discover. If anybody has any recommendations that aren't on this list, please let me know, because it's one of my favorite things to read when they're just like golden retrievers and just green flags, as much as I love red flags. And you'll notice there's no romantasy on this list, and that is because romantasy male main characters are mostly red flags. But sometimes I just really want a green flag, so please let me know if you have any recommendations that aren't on this list so that I can go and read those promptly. And I hope that you gained something from this video, took some recommendations from this video. If you did, I'm really glad I could help, and please let me know what you think of these books when you're done with them, because all of these are favourites for me. If you liked this video and you would like to see more from me, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below and stay tuned for future content. I upload every Wednesday and every Sunday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here. I also do have a bookstagram, which is @apaigeinchapter, and I do little votes over there, and I share pictures of what I'm reading and what I think of them in real time, so it could be fun to follow me over on there. And to firmly wrap up this video, I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, you're enjoying everything you're reading, and there are no reading slumps in your future, and I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.